Peace and blessings. It's your boy Eli Rax, aka Vibes, and I'm here with my guy El Jefe, and I'm here with my guy Mr. Glass Half Full Spiro, aka Spee if you nasty now. All right, and welcome to New York Revival, a show that is here to revive New York sports. Thank you guys for spending some time with us, and we do appreciate your time. Trust me. What's up to the chat? Please leave your comments now. We'll give you some shout outs, but first. How you doing, guys? What's going on? And I'm gonna start with you, El Jefe. What's going on, baby?
Feeling good, man. Feeling good. I see Easy in the comments. Easy's in the house already. Nice and early. I like that. But feeling good, man. Was looking forward to this all day. Now that we got our GM in place, we can fire off some head coach stuff, some other good stuff. So good to be here, man.
Awesome. And Mr. Glass Half Full.
Yeah, man. Hey, listen, we're moving on Giants land. We're getting towards the middle of base NBA.
There he is.
NHL. Let's go. It is not an introduction without me screwing it up. But we got Rangers on tonight. We got Knicks on tonight. We're going to be updating you guys throughout the podcast. We're just going to be having fun, man. I'm glad to be here every week with you guys.
Hell yeah, dude. Got this new microphone. It's singing. I can just hear it. It sounds good.
Sounds like it's humming. Sounds good, man.
I'm a nerd like that. Any audio problems, it keep me up at night. They bother me.
You guys should have seen Jeff when we had a little issue initially. I saw in his face. He was ready to go like full, like the steam was coming out of his ears. And now we're back on the track here.
Yes.
We're moving along, and we sound great. Sound great, baby.
Good. Sounds great, guys, and thank you guys, man. Hopefully you had a great weekend, everybody. But first and foremost, man, we always stick to our bread and butter. You guys know what it is, and that's what my guy Spiro wearing that hat for. You know, let me go up a little bit more. We got some Giants news. The Giants hire a new GM, Joe Schoen, out of Buffalo. Now, guys, this is big news because I think this is a new era that is coming into town, and this is what the fans had wanted. So I'm gonna start with your thoughts. So, Mr. Glass Half Full, what's your thoughts on that, man?
I mean, listen, I was always on the Shane train. He was the favorite coming in. I said last week, and I'll say it again. This guy's done everything in the NFL. He's worked his way up from in the ticket booth to assistant GM and everything in between. That's the kind of guy that you need to come in and clean house and start. He knows what he's looking for on every level, from scouting to the top of the front office. So, I mean, there's no better guy that you could have running things. He's got a connection with the best offense coordinator in the game right now. That's available. And in Dable. And I can't ask for a better start, man. It seems like the Giants are doing things the right way. They're casting a big net with the head coaching search as well. So, man, Shane Train, I'm all aboard. Let's see what this guy could do, man. I'm psyched.
Exciting times. And if you don't like what you saw last night from Buffalo, then I don't know. You need something injected into your veins, man, because that offense was humming. Yes, and I'm sure we're going to get into this. Josh Allen is elite. He's scratching the surface of his prime. My goodness, is he a special quarterback? So he's great. But Dable's putting him in the right spot constantly, using his bet. Like, he's getting the most out of him. You know, you can have a great quarterback that can't do anything because he's not in the right place. So a credit goes to Dable. At least a fair amount of credit goes to him. So it's exciting times, man.
No, I agree. I mean, hiring a new GM, man, that is not Dave Gettleman, I think is great, right? Joe Schoen is that guy. And, you know, he has a great past of bringing this to great players, Josh Allen, et cetera, that you guys see on that team. That team has been successful. And don't forget, Buffalo for a while was like a dead franchise, right? So they're bringing all these particular pieces in there, built that roster up, and here you go. You have a freaking playoff team every freaking year. It seems like year over year. So we want that same success because we've been deprived for way too long. And we're going to get into the head coaching as well as far as Dable and et cetera. But guys, I want to say this too. How do you guys feel the fact that Joe Schoen is here? What does this mean for Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley? And I'm going to start with you, El Jefe, because there's a lot of concern coming, over those two guys, the highest draft pick of the Dave Gettleman era. But what does that mean for them?
Yeah, Joe Schoen built a really solid roster front and back. So he's probably looking at this team like Daniel Jones is on the last year of his rookie deal. He has flashed some things. Let's try to work with him for a year while, I get my ducks in a row a little bit. There's some things to work out on this roster. Like, it's the cap situation is rough. the talent level is rough. We're overpaying some people that are not living up to the deal. So it's going to take a little time for him to get that stuff together. He can't be breaking $40 million for one of these older stud. No way, dude. They're trying to start over. They're trying to build this the right way. They're not going to do anything flashy. They're going to stick with Daniel Jones for a year, as they should, and build the O-line, build the trenches, and get good from the inside out. And then the quarterback situation will work itself out. But I'm excited for Joe Schoen. I mean, what he's going to do in the next week is going to set him up, which I know we're going to get into it, but he is like hedging his first gig as a GM on this head coach. So you better believe he's going to pick the right guy. He seems like one of the smartest football people I've ever heard speak, and he has a phenomenal reputation. So I trust him, and I'll let it play out however it's got to play out.
Yeah, well, I gotta say, I'm interested. First of all, if you guys don't know, Wednesday, tune in. He's going to be speaking for the first time to the Giants fan base and the organization. So I'm interested to see how he talks, how he holds himself. I'm not going to put my whole heart into how he talks, and because we saw how Joe Judge talked, and he fooled us. So yeah, so let's take it as with a grain of salt as part of his whole being and persona. But I'm psyched, man. Like I think DJ. I mean, if you talk about the tape that you put on the stuff that you put on tape going into the next offseason for your next coaching staff and GM, the Giants had the worst tape possible for, even offensively, defensively. Daniel Jones, he showed some flashes. Saquon Barkley put out the worst tape that he's had his whole career. So I can't say for certain whether this guy's going to be back or not. And I trust Joe Schoen, that is, to make the right decision. And he's going to make tough decisions. There's going to be a lot of tough decisions here. Do you ride it out with one more year, DJ? I think you do, because while he's not Josh Allen, I know he's not Josh Allen.
What?
There's some similar traits. Yeah, we'll get into that later. I know, guys, Josh Allen ain't walking through that door. Let's just say that. Okay.
Shame.
I know it's a damn shame, but listen, you have some things to work with. You fix the offensive line, and I want to see what these guys can do with a good, viable offensive line. But listen, if Joe Schoen says, "Hey, I want everybody out," and he clears it out, I'm on board with that too. I am putting full faith into Joe Schoen. I'm at his church right now, just like I was for Gettleman, like an idiot. But I was at Joe Judge's church.
We all were.
I'm a faithful fan, and this is what I do. Sometimes I'm Mr. Glass half full, and sometimes I look like an idiot doing it. But you can never say I'm not backing my team, baby. So let's see what you got, Joe.
Yeah, listen, I mean, what does it mean for Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley? I mean, what does it mean for them? They're staying. There's really nothing more you can do, unfortunately, with these two players. I mean, they're still under contract. Daniel Jones, the only thing he has to come to with, I guess, a difficult decision will be to, give him his fifth-year option, before the year begins. So with that being said, I don't think he should let Daniel Jones play out his contract. Let him be that bridge quarterback. And if Dable or whoever head coach can come in and get more out of that particular guy, then maybe you look at that direction and say, okay, maybe we can keep him or cut him. But Daniel Jones hasn't shown enough, unfortunately, to say, okay, let's keep him. There's not enough there. We just seen these elite quarterbacks in this playoffs play. We've seen what good quarterback play look like. And when you look at Daniel Jones, does he have that moxie? Does he have that? No, you can't say that. It's still a big question mark. And to hang your hat and say, yes, he's the guy, guys, we got to be kidding ourselves. We just seen the greatest quarterback play just here. Like, come on, what are we doing? So again, to invest too much time into Daniel Jones, this is his year and his year only. As far as Saquon Barkley, the same thing. He's on thin ice as well. And yes, he's a gifted talent. Yes, but that high of a draft pick, you expect that guy to come out and do his thing, no matter if an offensive line is there or not. So Saquon Barkley is just as on thin ice as Daniel Jones. And to be honest, if he was, to choose to move on from those two, I wouldn't be mad at that decision. I'll be okay with it. I'm going to trust the process and hope he has the eye for that talent and kind of go from there.
Can I just say one thing? Oh, two things about Saquon. I'm going to just because a lot of people are like, let's get rid of him. Let's get the salary that we owe him and use it elsewhere. I'll just say this. Right now, I don't think you're getting much more than maybe a third-round pick at the highest, because you're selling at an all-time low. The way I look at it is, if you let him and Daniel Jones walk, say they both put out okay to below average tape next year, you let those two guys walk, they'll probably sign contracts elsewhere. You get comp picks for those guys, which could be 3rd or 4th round picks anyway. Why not see if Barkley can recapture that rookie magic again? You know what? Put him behind an offensive line for the first time in his career. And worst comes to worst, like I said, you let him walk and you hope for the comp picks, because the way I think about it, I don't think Joe Shane's going to go out here and start big spending, because it's gotten the Giants into trouble 2 times already that we've seen, 2016 and last year. Never worked.
Now, let me say this, because John Mara said recently that he's ready to eat some of these contracts, meaning paying these players some guarantee money to relieve the cap a little bit more. So maybe he will have that big spending in free agency.
I really hope not. I hope not, because I don't think it's the way to go. I think the big build longevity, you have to do things through the draft, man. Always, you see Baltimore spending big. Do you see that? Do you see the 49ers haven't been spending big? All these teams that are well run are doing so through draft picks, and they have a great system going on. I hope Joe builds that good system. But my point, coming all full circle here, is that I would rather give Saquon a chance with us, and let him run behind a viable offensive line. 2 years removed from ACL surgery, no ankle injury this time, and we'll take our chances there. And like I said, if he's burnt out, then he walks, and we collect hopefully a comp pick for him, because someone else is going to pay him. Someone else is going to pay him one way or another. But that's my 2 cents on that.
I mean, I say this as far as spending in free agency, I don't think we have a choice if that was the case, because we're just so deprived of depth on this depth chart, is that I think you're going to have to go out and get a couple of those veteran players to plug in, especially on our offensive line, especially in disarray. Sure. So I think we're going to have to spend. It's just, I don't think we would get in like a Kenny Golladay type of guy.
Do you want to spend, though?
He got to step up.
You want to spend,
I would on that offensive line. I would, because I think John Mara at least wants some sort of wins. The fans are starving at this point. So I don't think we have a choice, man. I mean, Hefe, what do you think? Am I wrong? I mean,
yeah, I apologize, because the first time around I didn't even answer your question, because I'm so excited about Dable. I think I went off on a Dable rant when you asked me about Saquon and Daniel Jones.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. Don't worry. We'll get to it.
Focus, Jeff. Daniel Jones gets this year. Saquon is due what, $7 million? And this is the last year. This is last year of his rookie deal. I know you're selling at an all-time low right now, but it's going to be a lot lower after the season when you have no leverage, right? You might want to consider a 3rd-round pick, because you can
third round. I would consider.
Yeah,
that's my mark. That's my point there. Like, if it's 4th round or up, that's my like.
Yeah, the good thing is that it's a new GM, so it's not Gettleman who would hold on to him to try to justify the number 2 overall pick. This is a brand new GM who's like, wow, that was a terrible draft choice. Let's move on. You know what I mean? Like, that's why you need a fresh GM in here to look at previous moves and be able to move on without attachment. Because Saquon Barkley obviously had a super high ceiling, just didn't work. It just didn't work. The team's not ready for that. It's not time to pay a running back if there ever is a time.
For sure,
so I would
definitely not. I mean, and then you could get a running back in the later rounds anyway, right? I mean,
I think you should still do it. Still do that. If whether Saquon's on the team or not, you should draft for the future. And clearly he can't stay healthy. I want to draft a backup running back and a backup quarterback, because clearly DJ and Saquon can't stay healthy. So at the very minimum, you're drafting those spots anyway. It's going to be what they decide though with those 2 guys, man, because that starts the whole offseason. Those decisions, and that's going to be where Shane makes his money, man.
Hey, I'll tell you this before we continue, guys. How's the chat going, Jeff? Is anything good in there before we keep going? Can we give some shout outs too?
We're popping in. Who's here? Our first two.
Yo.
Easy and Taniqua in here.
Yes.
Floyd.
Hey.
What's up, Floyd? Everybody's talking DJ, talking Josh Allen, Louis D, Sergeant Mayhem in here.
Sergeant Mayhem.
What's
going on, man? So, guys, listen, I'll tell you this,
TK's talking about my hands here. He's saying that I fumble a lot. I don't know, man. We haven't dropped the rock once yet. Let's go.
You know, we're gonna keep track of that, TK. How many times he fumbles? That'd be pretty dope.
I feel like
he was more than DJ.
I feel like TK might be a wise ass. I'm going to put a wise ass warning on
buddy.
him.
I see you.
Shout out TK.
Jeff knows
man.
where you live, so I will talk to him and I'll find you.
Yes, I do. I know TK. TK is funny. TK is actually Carlos from the videos.
Hey.
Oh shit! Hey, what's going on? What's going on, TK? That's my guy.
What's up, Carlos?
What's up, Carlos? So, guys, listen, we got a lot of head coach candidates that came in. We had Dan Quinn interview that wrapped up. We still have Dable coming in for a second interview, I believe, this Wednesday. And we still have Brian Flores that's still in there coming in this week as well as Patrick Graham. So, guys, with that being said, how do you guys feel about these head coaching candidates that the GM is actually bringing in now? You got Flores. You got Patrick Graham. You got Dan Quinn. You got Dable. I mean, what more can we ask for? I think it's a good thing besides maybe Patrick Graham. But how you guys feeling about this head coaching search right now? Who do you think should get the job? And I'm going to start with Spee.
Yeah, I mean, listen, everybody in Giants land wants that offensive guy. The problem is there's only really one offensive guy. I mean, listen, you can count McDaniel. You can count Kevin O'Connell for the Bengals. But clearly the Giants aren't looking that way. I think they want a more established coach, somebody that's been in the league for a long time. And unfortunately, those guys aren't it right now. So I think it's Dable for your offensive coach, and then all the best candidates are defensive coordinators, which is not what everybody wants to see.
Give me your defense too. Like if we don't go with offense, give me your defense too. Why not?
100%. So offensively, my first guy is Dable. I want Dable because I think you could keep Patrick Graham and or some other big names that are coming out. But I think defensively, it's tough, man, because like the most established guy and the one that with the most success is Dan Quinn. I personally think Dan Quinn is a better coach than people are giving credit for. But when it comes down to these defensive guys, it's all about who they can bring in for their offensive coordinator. You're not walking in the door unless you have a good name, in my opinion, as an offensive coordinator. And that it's hard to kind of draw the conclusions which one they're going to pick. So in that sense, you could tell me Dan Quinn's going to be the coach or Flores or any of the other. Those are my top twos. But I don't know who their OCs are going to be. And Flores has not brought in a good offensive coordinator in the 3 years that he's been at Miami. So I don't trust that he can do that. So it's worrisome. The defensive guys are worrisome. And then you find a good coordinator and that guy's probably gone in 2-3 years. So that's the flip side of having a defensive guy. I am a big defensive guy myself. Give me Dan Quinn. I know everybody's going to hate me for it, but I know that guy's had success, and he found Kyle Shanahan. So he's got an eye for this thing. He could find an offensive coordinator. So that's my defensive guy. My offensive guy is Dable. Boom.
It's hard for me to disagree, and I have the same concerns because Jesus, Spiro. Every time he bangs the table, it's like it's
like an earthquake at his house.
Fumble number one.
We're such a buttoned up program here. No, I have the same concerns because the best offensive coordinators are only leaving for head coaching gigs, or they're going to stay where they are because their value is only going to go up. Like if you're Eric Bieniemy, who for some reason keeps getting passed on for head coaching gigs, maybe because Andy Reid is calling the plays. Obviously, Bieniemy is involved there, but they have so much talent. You just don't know how much he's doing. So I think people are a little scared to just give him the reins of a head coaching job without him having more responsibility. I think that's what's going on there. So then if you get a defensive coach like Quinn, who I think is probably a good head coach and he should be a head coach somewhere else, I just think the Giants have to get the best offensive mind possible. If you keep Graham, and I said this to Spiro in our chat earlier, if you keep Graham, he can kind of manage the defense. He's been doing it for 2 years already. He knows the players. There's a system which would allow Dable or the offensive coach to focus a little bit more time on the offense. So I think that's kind of a healthy recipe right there for getting this team competitive sooner than later. But if a guy like Wink or something like that becomes available for a defensive coordinator position, you got to consider it. Spiro's winking. Yeah, you got to consider it because Patrick Graham is good. And I think our offense just shit on our defense all year with short drives and turnovers and just not being competitive, that the defense just got rolled over by the end of the game. So if Patrick Graham stays as DC, I'm good. If we are able to upgrade, I'm good. I'm good.
It should be upgrade or nothing, though. It should be a Fangio, Wink, or or somebody of that ilk, Zimmer, or you stick with Graham. Don't go with an unknown. That's all I want. Eli, thoughts?
I agree.
Who's your guy?
No, I'm gonna have to piggyback you guys, man, and say, if you want a defensive guy, you got to go with Dan Quinn because of the success, right? If you want an offense, you just seen what Buffalo did in these playoffs, right? So you got to go with a Dable, man. Especially the fact I think is more enticing, which all the fans is like, no, that some fans don't want Dable and some fans do, or most of us do, and some don't. But the reason why we say Dable is because we've seen the development of Josh Allen. And if you want to be a Daniel Jones type of guy, you want Dable because we've seen the development of Josh Allen and what he's able to do. And he made him into a superstar. That's a great offensive coordinator. That's a great coach. And I think he'll bring the people in here to develop the players. And these players right now need development. We're very young. And I think he's able to do that. Something Joe Judge unfortunately didn't do. So yeah, if anything, I'll go with offense Dable, defense definitely Dan Quinn. But I want to pose a question to you guys too. I want to say this: does experience matter, or are you guys okay with a rookie head coach? And I'm gonna start with Hefe. Are you okay with experience, or are you good with a rookie head coach here?
In this case, there's like a lot of factors to Dable on why I'm attracted to him. It's not just the offense, how he developed Josh Allen, who is much better than Daniel Jones. Let's get that out of the way. But Daniel Jones does not have a dissimilar skill set to Josh Allen. He's kind of just like a discount version, right? So he can work with Daniel Jones and get his confidence back. How can he help him process things faster after the snap? I don't know. We'll see. I forget where I was going. Somebody pick me up.
So you want an experienced head coach or a rookie?
Okay. Yes. Thank you.
Got you, brother.
We're back.
That's a lot. We had a lot of listen. We had a lot of beers, man. Don't worry. I'm sorry. We had a lot of beers. We pregame before this thing. All right, guys.
if there were those experienced head coaches like Sean Payton or Harbaugh, if they were on the table, it would be a different conversation. We'd be like, okay, that's clearly a better head coaching fit for where the Giants are right now, starting over. But those guys, I think, would come with a lot of weight in terms of what they would want to do personnel-wise. We have a brand new GM who's going to want to run the show. So that's why Dable seems like a good fit, because they already work together. They would work in unison moving forward. They get to build their own legacy together. Maybe something that they talked about, you know what I mean? Like over a beer while at Buffalo all those years, they were looking for promotions. You know what I mean? It's like, I like that they'd be starting together. That's really attractive to me. They knew how to build a team. They know what worked. They know how to work in offense. They know how to get the most out of a quarterback's skill set. For all those reasons, I love Dable. But if Harbaugh becomes available, or Sean Payton, you'd have to seriously consider it. But I see a big problem with how much say they would want to have and how much Joe Schoen would want to give up in his first GM gig.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah,
I mean, listen, I can't agree more. But I think, listen, we went down the rookie head coach thing. With McAdoo, we did it with Judge. I think Mara, if he has any bit of say, he's going to want somebody that's been at least in the league for a long time, been doing this and Dable has been everywhere. He's been in college. He's been with Saban. He's been with Belichick. He's branched out to the Browns. He's been to, the Bills. He's seen it all. He's been to Canada. Hey, he's been to Canada. He drinks some pop in freaking Canada. So I think that Dable's got everything like going for him right now. And I was just naming the defensive. I said the defensive coaches. Who are their offensive coordinators? The defensive coordinators available to Dable are just the who's who list right now. I mean, at the very least, you got Graham coming back. So like everything's going. Everything's coming up aces for Dable. I don't see any reason to go stray. I'm seeing some other names that kind of worry me. I saw that today. The Bengals guy interviewed. They had some other name from Dallas, Wyatt. But I think they're just doing their due diligence, just like they did with the GM search, and it's all going to come back to square one again, where Dable's our guy. Let's go.
And can we say this? Leslie Frazier is definitely worked himself out of a head coaching position with the New York Giants. Can we say that comfortably?
Listen, if we're judging the guy about how his worn down defense played against one of the greatest guys of all time in Patrick Mahomes right now, that's tough. That's tough on Leslie Frazier, man.
Especially if you were considering him before last night and now all of a sudden you're out
Yeah,
on him.
last night was not good for anybody on defense.
Look at this. This wasn't a great endorsement for Spagnuolo either, with the way Josh, you know what I mean?
Not.
And they are better. They're playoff defenses. They're there, right? And they actually are two of the better ones. Chiefs got better throughout the year. Bills were pretty solid all year. But last night you just caught elite athletes at the quarterback position. You know, offense
best in the game.
The
top
best in
5,
the game,
man, right?
In most sports, the unstoppable offense is going to win.
But look at the other side. Look at the other side of this, the NFC. We have Jimmy Garoppolo, possibly with a chance to go to his second Super Bowl. Jimmy G, who is arguably a top 20, if you're maybe a top 20 guy. That gives me hope for Daniel Jones, because you have to put a good team around a guy. Like, listen, there's the elite guys. There's a top 5 that carry crappy teams or decent teams, and they could take guys to the next level. Then they're the good teams that are managed by a decent quarterback. San Francisco is going to go to the Super Bowl 2 times, possibly with Jimmy G. I can't comprehend how crazy that is.
Let me say this too. After that game at Lambeau Field, you know, some people had the audacity, nerve, the mitigative gall to say that he was a Eli freaking Manning. Jesus. Like, this is what we're doing with ourselves here, comparing Jimmy G to Eli Manning. You guys need to jump off a cliff. Don't come back. You're freaking nuts. All right? Let's cut the malarkey. Dude, cut it out.
No, he's not Eli. Jimmy G is what you would call a system quarterback, right? He's in a very good place with a solid roster. I do think he's a smart quarterback. I think he's a competitor. He just doesn't have the skill set that jumps off the page. Like, he doesn't put up gaudy numbers ever. He's usually like a 25 touchdown, 12 interception kind of guy. Like you know what I mean? He's a middle of the road stat guy. I think top 20 is a little rough considering all the success.
You might not even consider him top 20.
But he's certainly not a top 3rd quarterback.
Is he a top? He's not. Is he a top 10? Jimmy? No, right? We can't say that. Can we put him in the top 15? Maybe. Yeah. Maybe.
Top 5 handsome.
Yeah. I mean, listen, that guy could pull some top 5 ass.
Some boy band. Crazy boy band ass. Yeah.
But listen, the point remains, he is not a good quarterback, and that's what a good team and a good system can get you. You don't have to always be in a position where you're searching for. Listen, you always want to be on a search for that top 3, top 5 guy, always, and then you keep drafting quarterbacks until you find that guy.
Unless you're the Giants, in which case you pass on them every year.
Well, listen.
But we never had elite quarterbacks.
No, we basically didn't.
You can't spell elite without Eli.
Eli, baby.
But listen, it's going to happen. There are going to be chances, and you have to trust that Joe Shane he'll jump up and get that guy, because they did that for Josh Allen. I think that it'll come, but in the meantime, build the good unit around them where you could you could put the finishing touch of the quarterback in there, or you could give yourself a chance every year by just having a good system, good defense, good offensive line, good running game. And that's what I want to build here. You know, we all want that top 3 quarterback. We all want that Josh Allen, but they don't come around it very often.
No, and when you're consistently in the playoffs, or you know, like teasing with deep playoff runs and championship games, it's when you have everything. It's when you have that top tier quarterback and the right system and a good defense and the right coaches and a healthy GM, like what the Patriots had for 20 years, what the Chiefs have now. Do you know Patrick Mahomes' 4th starting year in the NFL, and he's gone to 4 AFC championship games?
Dude,
that's just absolutely ridiculous.
It's scary to see. If he gets better, it's just scary to even think about, because he's so young still.
Well, eventually he's going to outlast Kelsey and Hill. Yeah. So it'll be how good they are replacing him. But like the Chiefs have been so good. Like, not many teams do you know their 3rd, 4th, and 5th wide receiver. You know what I mean? And you know you got like Robinson and Pringle and Hardman. And it's like the Giants' 5th guy. Like, are you kidding me? We get like Darius Slayton. We're rolling Darius Slayton out there. Like, I mean, the situation is everything, but that's just what better coaching and healthy drafting does.
Agreed.
Also, TK had a really good joke here. Okay, we've been in our chat. We've been doing. Somebody asked the correct way to pronounce Dable, and I said it's table with a D. And then they went on this whole thing about how to pronounce it. I said, "You guys kill me. Is it that, or because I just smoked a bowl?" So that's Carlos.
Okay,
that's
I like
Carlos
it.
For
I
you.
like
Shout out Carlos, man. Guys, let me say this, man. I'm going to say this too, man, because Eli Apple, old Giants guy here, has been chirping a little bit, man. He said he don't know who he hates more, the Giants or the Saints. So, guys, what do you have to say about that? Fuck Eli Apple, right?
Fuck Eli Apple.
Eli Apple.
Dude,
Eli Apple's a bitch.
get out of here.
Oh, breaking news.
Breaking news at the bottom, guys. If you see it.
Look,
you see that right there. Yeah, Eli Apple's a bitch.
If you didn't know, now you know.
Now you know. We did that to you guys. So, guys,
the only reason why every franchise isn't on his list is because he was only with the Panthers for 2 games. Don't worry. He's going to hate the Bengals fans too because Eli Apple, you suck.
At some point, it's not your previous fan bases that you play for. It's you. You suck.
It's you. You suck.
Listen,
and you know what? When he hit that ball out the way in the air, he looked shocked himself, right? Like he had the game winning, and he looked shocked, like I did that. Like, this guy's a jerk, man.
In 6 years.
Exactly. Like, come on, man. So, guys, listen, divisional playoffs, they happen, man. So, what an exciting weekend for football. Wow. Like, I've never seen such excitement around football. And listen, yes, we've seen, the playoffs of Eli Madden. We've seen Super Bowls. We're not talking about that, guys. Those are the greatest of all times. But when we watched this game this weekend, NFL football was the best I've ever seen. So, guys, I want to do something here today. We're going to have a little rating system here for the games that we have, guys. Now, it's going to be new to us. So we're going to go through the games one by one, and I want you guys to give me 1 out of 5 limes. All right? And this is a little bit of lime for a good time. You guys already know. So we're going to have a little bit of lime for a good time. So, guys, we're going to go with the one game. We're going to go with the first game here. And I think this one was a good one. We're going to go with 49ers versus Green Bay. And Hefe, I'm going to start with you, man. How many limes are you going to give me here? 1 out of 5.
I'm going to give it 3 limes because it was a good game. It was competitive right down to the end, but there was not an offensive explosion. I mean, the 49ers, their whole season, they can thank a blocked punt returned for a touchdown for beating Aaron Rodgers because their offense scored 2 field goals.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was not like an off the charts game. I kind of like Aaron Rodgers kind of being a bitch this year as well as he was playing. He was back at an MVP level, but that was not the top game for me. I do pull for the 49ers. Like, even though the Giants are out, you start to have your teams that you kind of pull for. Mm-hmm. And it was like 49ers and Bills on the 2 conferences for me. So I love Deebo Samuel. I love the 49ers. They're just
Deebo's coming.
They're doing it without elite quarterback play, right? And I do love that about him. Joe Burrow is an absolute different game. But the 49ers doing it for me. They beat the Packers, came down to the last second again. It's freaking beautiful. 3 limes for me. Spiro.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that because we didn't get good quarterback play out of either quarterback. It was a competitive game. It was tight to the end. It was cold weather at Lambeau, just what you want to see about playoff environment. But, just like the number of lines, I put it the number of tequilas that I have. I was buzzed. I was buzzed on it, but I wasn't drunk. I want to be drunk. And the 49ers game, fun, good to watch, kept me intrigued the whole time, but left a lot to be desired, man. Left a lot to be, especially compared to these other games, man. Shit, those were awesome. Good. Eli, what do you think? How many limes you got?
So I'm going to say 3.5 limes, guys, because the reason why, because not too many things happen on special teams, right? So I think that was when they had the big special teams play, and then, everything that's kind of – am I doing that game right?
You're a big special teams guy. I like that.
Yeah, so, shout out Lawrence Tynes, man, for making me break that down just a little bit of special teams because the percentages are so low as far as getting a turnover or a block or whatever the case is. So, man, it was just action-packed from here, from beginning to end. 3.5, man. I'll go a little bit of line for good time. Hit me!
All right.
Sorry.
A little bit of lime for a good time.
I like this.
Okay.
Let's go.
So, guys, in the next game, Bengals and Titans, man. And I'm going to start with you, Mr. Glass Half Full. How many limes? 1 out of 5.
Yeah, you know what? It just because it was a nice upset. I love the way Burrow plays. I love the way Jamar Chase plays. I'm going to say 3.5 limes for me on this one. It was still not that elite game. We didn't have the Derrick Henry. I didn't see a stiff arm. I didn't see vintage Derrick Henry, and that would have put it up to this next level. you saw Tannehill screwing shit up left and right. You saw Burrow just looking amazing on the other side. You saw the future of the NFL and Joe Burrow. I love everything about this Bengals team, man. I'm happy that they're in the AFC Championship. I think they're a year away still, but there's gonna be a different environment in Kansas City for Joe Burrow. But I'm looking forward to this next game more than the Titans game. I thought that we all thought kind of the Bengals were going to win this game. 3.5, a decent buzz. Came down to McPherson knocking field goals like it's his job. Talk about special teams. Shout out rookie McPherson.
Shout out.
Hey, and did you guys see that video of him kicking the ball from about 50 yards away and knocking the Gatorade lid right off the top? Like you know how he knocked the Gatorade lid right off the top of the bottle, dude, from 50 yards away. What? Yeah, dude, I'm going to send you this video. Check it out. This guy is amazing, man. So
even I couldn't do that. That's crazy.
Big fan of that guy. 3.5 limes. Jeff, what's your thoughts?
3.5 limes just feels exactly right, and I would choose a different score if you weren't so goddamn correct. I mean, it was a little better than the previous game because we had some better quarterback play, at least on one side. But Tannehill, dude, now the Titans are like, well, we're not going as far as we need to go. You're the number 1 seed. You got Derrick Henry back, and you just first play of the day, Tannehill interception. First play of the second half, Tannehill interception. Yeah. Last throw of the day for Tannehill interception. Dude, you're not it. That's what happens when you rely on everything except your quarterback.
Well, I had my bad quarterback take all set to go too. I was like, look, Tannehill's gonna make it too, and we have Jimmy G making it, and then Tannehill went and Tannehilled.
I agree. Listen, guys, I have to say 3.5 too, man. I mean, it was a great game down to the wire, right? But man, how spectacular Joe Burrow was, man. That guy is elite, and it's just a pleasure to watch him, man. And just to see his poise, his calm, and he's so young, man.
With a bat off his line.
With a bat, and he got hit after hit after hit after hit.
It reminded me of the Eli 2011 game.
Yes, and that was the excitement. He kept getting up. He wasn't wavered. Yeah. That guy is an elite quarterback, and for many years to come, it's exciting to take a look at him. And he was smart. He didn't force the ball. He didn't throw it down the field. He just took the sack and said, hey, I'll live to play another down, and that was beautiful play, beautiful quarterback play, better than Aaron Rodgers in his game, right, in my opinion. And I'm not comparing the two, but man, he's so young to have that poise, to have that still that mentality that he could kill you. 3.5 for me, man. I thought that freaking game was awesome from beginning to end as well. I'll go with 3.5. Let's get it.
Little bit of lime for a good time.
So, guys, I love it. I love it. And the next game, of course.
Wait. Okay, go. Going back to Aaron Rodgers, imagine being a Packers fan, having Favre to Rodgers for that long, and all you got is one Super Bowl each. There's so much fruit left at the top, man. It just left you wanting more, and Rodgers could be gone, and that's all you got, man. That's all you got.
Listen, it might be his last year. You're right too. I mean, I think he was contemplating retirement soon. So,
dude, imagine him a little bit.
An elite.
If you're
go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's all good. If you're our age and you're, late 30s and you're a Packers fan, you have had nothing but Hall of Fame quarterbacks your entire life. Think about how crazy that is.
Wild,
right? Your entire life. And listen, the Packers are going to disappear when Rodgers leaves.
They won 2 Super Bowls, just like Eli Manning.
And listen, and as much as you complain about an average quarterback, these guys had elite quarterbacks. So I'm going to speak about the Giants a little bit. These guys are elite, MVP level type guys every single year, and they only have 2 between the elites. So, I'd rather take Eli Manning any day. The average guy that's going to make it into the Hall of Fame regardless, I'll take it, man. I'm more than happy with that his career at this point. Definitely for sure. So, guys, the next game, Tampa Bay versus LA. How many limes? And I'm going to start with you, Jefe.
What is Tampa Bay?
Tampa Bay versus LA.
I'm gonna go 3 limes. And it's just 3 limes for me. Yeah.
Wasn't impressed.
The Rams, because we know where the bar is, right?
Yes,
we know where the bar is. So I'm trying to, like Dave Portnoy's pizza reviews. I'm not giving out 9 point whatevers, okay?
I feel you.
Because you got to save that for the ones that really, really deserve it.
Right.
But Tom Brady looked disinterested for the first half and most of the game. They were down 27-3, started to feel like, oh shit, here goes Tom Brady again, down with 3 points and all that. But like, yes, they came back. It would have been wrong for LA to lose. I was happy the way it ended, happy for Odell, happy for Matt Stafford. So like, I liked a lot about the game. There was just what kept showing up is the quarterback play at the end that just surpassed defenses, like defenses that were relatively good all year were just making boneheaded plays at the end where it's just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Like Cooper Kupp, you should know him on the scouting report.
Yeah, right.
He was the best receiver.
Watch out for that dude.
He had the Triple Crown this year. He was the best wide receiver. And when they needed him most, he got that out for like 20 yards or whatever, and then a bomb to him, like to end the game. It's just, how can you lose him at a time like that? So that was crazy to me. So just was not up to the snuff as the other games, but happy for the Rams. 3 limes, solid buzz, mild hangover.
Fair. I'm going to kick it up a notch here. I had it at a 2 lime, maybe even a 1.5 for basically the whole first half. And then Brady started turning on that Brady magic. And you're like, oh shit, here he comes again. He has some kind of deal with the devil, because you thought, like, everybody deep down was like, oh, he's going to pull this out. And then Akers fumbled, and you're like, holy shit. Like, this is it. Brady's going to do it again. He came up just short, but he made that game so there was no business. They had no business being in that game. The Rams took their foot off the gas a little bit, and Brady saw his opening. He looked so disinterested in the first half, but he turned it on in that second half, and I swore he was going to do it. I swear, I was very worried. The Rams prevailed. How Todd Bowles could call a blitz like that in the most important spot in the game, leaving Cooper Kupp one-on-one, your safety. Winfield just standing there like with cement in his shoes. Like, come on, guys, come on. But anyway, I'm happy for the Rams. We're rooting for the Rams because they were the better team overall. So I'm gonna say 4 limes. I had a nice buzz going. I was pretty drunk. Pretty drunk on that game.
Like, my wife starts looking at me like, you gotta calm down. Like,
you got it. You know that look. So, guys, I'm going to give this thing interesting, because it's funny how you pulled that back, Mr. Glass Half Full. Because I'm sitting here thinking, even though that game was very exciting, and I loved every second of it, because I'm like, man, this is why Tom Brady's the GOAT. It's like, what the hell you doing, LA? 1 line for me. Why would you let Tom Brady, the GOAT, come back in? Why? Why would you just stop taking your foot off the gas? And look at even Sean McVay looked nervous. He looked like he was scared. And I'm like, man, why would you do that? And I'm giving you 1 because I'm pissed the hell off that you let Tom Brady come the hell back in that game. What the hell were y'all thinking? This is Tom Brady. It's not like he's bringing someone else back there. What the hell are y'all thinking? Like the game plan was just like, score 27. Let's see if they can pull the Falcons again. It almost happened. It almost happened.
I can't believe Eli sat there. I can't believe Eli sat there quietly while me and Spiro gave our answers.
I'm
surprised he wasn't like.
I was jumping out my skin just now, holding that in. 1 freaking lime. You guys freaking suck. But what the hell were you thinking, LA? And I was rooting for you, and I'm rooting for you to win, and I hope you win. But guess what? You freaking almost let them back in.
The Rams won. The Rams won. They just want you to know.
You're right. I'm sorry. Let me calm down here.
And remember, limes are for a good time.
Yes,
you're right. Eli
was not having a good time in the second half. Clearly,
why would you do this? It's Tom freaking Brady. Anywho,
do I have to remind you what limes are for?
Little bit of lime for a good time.
Eli did not look like he was having a good time, maybe.
No, I wasn't. Because I was like, man, Tom Brady's going to do it again in another Tom Brady Super Bowl, which we don't want to see.
No, we don't. Anyway. But for me, he made it competitive when it wasn't. So I was just like, all right, at least this was fun. And it led into the fireworks.
Nobody wants to see Tom Brady win another freaking Super Bowl.
No.
So,
great.
Dude, once Akers fumbled, I'm like, don't give him the ball again. Like, what are you doing?
It was so Patriots. It was so Brady.
Yes.
It was like, are you kidding me? This happening again?
Unbelievable.
I'm like, man, the fix is in? Immediately, I was like, fix is in. I was like, Tom Brady's going to win another one. The fix is in. I was so upset to see that. I'm like, man, you almost let this guy back in to take away another year of a Tom Brady Super Bowl. I'm done seeing it. He had enough success. Let somebody else win this thing. For goodness sakes. But guys,
they are. They thought we
almost. So guys, let me say this, man. Here's the game. Last and not least, you got Buffalo versus Kansas City, and boy, was that a game! And the fact that your hands is like this, and I know Spiro, I haven't started with you much. My apologies. I'm going to start with El Jefe because it looks like he's ready to roll. El Jefe, tell me about that game. What you think, man? What you rated?
All the limes in the world. Wow. This is just Casamigos with no regard for tomorrow or your future. This was one of the best football games of all time. Easily 5 limes. If I could give more, I would. It was so good, and it was kind of slow rolling. And then just the way it got to the end, where each quarterback was just not going to quit. They were just going to pull another rabbit out every time they had to. It was unbelievable. This is how good the end of this game was. My wife was waiting for me upstairs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I got
it. And I stayed downstairs until that game was over. She's texting me, "You coming?" Be like, "Be right up." You know, like, and then it's overtime, and I'm like, "Well, if I miss out, I missed out. I'm not missing it. I'm not missing this game." Then the Chiefs got the ball. I'm like, "This will be over in 2 seconds. There's no way they're being stopped right now." Get started, babe. I'll be right there. That's how good. 5 lines. Unbelievable. One of the best all-time games.
Yep. Agreed. I mean, listen, I like you said, I was blacked out drunk on this game, man. Like I was at the bar. Wife left me. She left me far behind. She's like, "Find your own way home," because I was way gone on these lines, man. Listen, tit for tat. That fourth quarter was some of the best offensive football you have ever seen. And 13 seconds wasn't enough for Josh Allen, man. And I feel so damn bad. I mean, Gabriel Davis, 4 touchdowns, and Mahomes just would not give up, man. Would not give up. And, you know, say what you want about the overtime rules, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But that game was just one of the best playoff games, one of the best games I've ever seen in my life. And my wife was jumping up and down, having a good time with me. That's how awesome it was. Like anybody that was near a TV was hooked on that game, and it was all time. And we're going to see much more of that. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes for the rest of their careers. That is the
new rivalry, right?
Yeah, that's it. It's the Peyton and Tom Brady. It's going to be. You're going to be there every year, man.
Yeah.
So much fun. Eli, how many lines? I mean, do we have to even talk about
drunk? 5. Blackout drunk. Carry me home. Get me an Uber, and I don't even know the Uber sent me to Chinatown. That's how blacked out drunk I am at this point. Now let me tell you, this game was special because both of those quarterbacks left Earth. They were just heavenly. These guys were Super Saiyan. For the Dragon Ball Z fans in this chat, these guys were Super Saiyan level. The shootout was unbelievable. Josh Allen, unbelievable. Patrick Mahomes, unbelievable. Anytime, down to the wire, whoever that team had the ball last, I knew they were going to win. But with 13 seconds left, the greatness of freaking Patrick Mahomes goes down, scored a tying touchdown, and guess what? The coin flips, and then you have overtime. And I'm like, whoever's going to win this coin toss, they're going to win this game. And sure enough, Kansas City won that game because Buffalo's defense was just completely gassed, did all that they have to do because, again, to contain Patrick Mahomes, the fact that he's not just a mobile quarterback, he is just a mobile home. I don't even know what to call it. This guy's electric. You know what I mean? This guy is it. So you can't even contain him. He's like freaking almost Mike Vick back there, just very good in the pocket. And, man, it was just a great game to watch, man, from start to freaking finish. It was electric, and I loved every second of it. But, guys, the biggest thing that people are actually talking about, this is the biggest controversy, is the overtime rules because they didn't give Josh Allen another chance to do it. It was the first person that scored, which, of course, we all look like, oh, Kansas City's going to win this thing, right? Because he was cutting up that defense. But, guys, how do you feel about the overtime rules? Is this something that should be changed and addressed in the offseason, or do you guys think it's okay? And I'm going to start with Spee.
Well, let's just say we were all left wanting more because you knew every time someone touched the ball, it was going to be a touchdown. And nobody wants to see a game end after that, you know? So it's disappointing that Josh Allen didn't get another chance. But listen, the defense had 13 seconds to stop Kansas City from going to overtime. They didn't do it. They had another chance in overtime to just hold to a field goal, and they would have gave the ball back to Josh Allen. They didn't do it. So get a better defense. I don't know what to tell you guys, man. Like, get a better defense so they get you the ball back. They had their chances. They had their chances throughout the game, and they went to overtime because their defense could not stop Mahomes, which is fine. Mahomes is on fire. But you can't complain that you didn't have a shot. You had the whole game, and then you had 13 seconds to stop it. And as soon as Tyreek Hill caught that ball and went 19 yards, you knew that game was going to overtime. You knew damn well. But the Buffalo Bill defense had to make a stop. They didn't have a pass rusher, and that's why they ended up going overtime, and that's why they ended up losing. And it's a shame, but the rules are the rules. My proposal, follow hockey, people. Let me fill you in on what hockey does. And they go to overtime during the regular season, and then they have a shootout. Come playoffs, it's sudden death. Play until your legs fall off. I think they should play it out in the NFL in playoffs and let the big boys decide it. So have two different set of rules: regular season and playoff rules, and that's my proposal. Jeff, thoughts?
I like that. I actually like that a lot. You want to do something in the regular season. You don't want to run these guys into the ground. A lot of times these guys have to play on Sunday and then play on Thursday or do these short weeks. Like, you can't have them play an extra 15 minutes through or keep playing until, like, you know what I mean? Like, you got to end the game. But the overtime rules are what they are. I don't think they should change them. If anything, do a little for the postseason, right? But it's only because that game was so epic that we feel this way. I've never heard people cry about this rule this much before. If this was a regular game or whatever, or the Chiefs got a field goal and then it was a battle, you'd be fine with the overtime rule and it would be fine. But you had 60 minutes, right? You had 60 minutes to do it. So how about you stop somebody? 13 seconds. Like, I can't imagine being Josh Allen, by the way, grabbing a lead with 13 seconds. And then not only do you lose, you don't even get a chance. You don't get the ball back. The guy played heroic. But I'm going to agree with our sponsor here, Swamp Ass Protection.
Swamp Ass Protection, yes.
Overtime rules are not fair, but there's no better way to do overtime. You had 4 quarters to win. It didn't come down to just the 13 seconds. There's a lot of stuff that happened throughout the game. Stops you could have made. You could have squib kicked instead of giving them the full field, right? Squib kick would have knocked at least 5 or 6 seconds off. That means you only give Mahomes 1 play to get in the field goal range. That changes everything.
Big facts.
Right?
Facts.
So
absolutely.
So the overtime rule is what it is. If you don't like it, stop somebody.
Right.
Totally agree, guys. I can't even add any more to that, guys. Again, the rules, man. And I think people are, the reason why the rules are the rules is because the NFL has a high injury rate. So now you have the playoffs and you can lose a starting guy where it can alter your Super Bowl chances. So the rules are the rules. Keep them there. Go out there and play football. Go stop that guy. Go play defense. Go play offense. And if you couldn't score on offense, oh, well, you lost your shot and the defense did well. But, guys, go out there and play. The rules are the rules. Let's not risk any more injury. These guys already have so many things happening with their bodies. Why ruin it on the playoffs, which we all watch the playoffs at a high rate and the Super Bowl at the highest? We want to see everyone play. We want to see everyone play. And it was exciting of Derrick Henry coming back and just playing in the playoffs. So just imagine someone got hurt just trying to figure out the sudden death overtime because of the rule change. No, keep the rules where they are. Play your game, period. And I totally agree with you guys on that.
If this game was 3-3, we would have been begging for this game to be over. We would have been begging for this game to be over. So you can't have it both ways. It was an offensive shootout. It was great while it lasted. But, man, good things come to an end.
You don't want a season to come down to a coin flip.
No, right? I get it.
And I get that. I think it's just because of the proportion of the game, right? Like the epic proportion of what was happening. Nobody wanted to see it end. I saw people on Twitter like, "Can we get a 5th quarter?" Like, it didn't look like overtime was going to happen. Right. Then you got it. So if the Bills had gotten the ball first and ran down and scored, I don't think there would be that much uproar. I think people were pulling for Josh Allen because he's the underdog. He hasn't been there yet. Patrick Mahomes is going to be relevant. He's got $500 million. You know what I mean? Josh Allen is this guy who you just pull for because he hasn't done it yet. And he's a good kid and he's phenomenal. So he's going to get his chance and he's going to get there. I think.
Shout out Josh Allen. Shout out to the people that bet on the Bills to win the Super Bowl. There are those people out there. There are those people out there that did that. And listen, I lost 2 bets last night, but I could care less about my bets. That's how hyped I was. I couldn't even fall asleep afterwards. The Sunday scaries and everything, man. But that game just was so all time. Nothing could bring me down from that. That was just enjoy it, people. Stop bitching about the overtime. Enjoy what you just saw, which was one of the best games of all time.
Did you ever even Brady and Manning in their duels? I don't remember anything. We saw that many points back and forth in that big of a game.
To be fair, he was going against Belichick's defense most of the time, so you weren't seeing defensive performance like that.
But Josh Allen just absolutely tore up Bill Belichick's defense last week.
True.
These are quarterbacks at the very top of the game that the defense could not even slow down. Josh Allen was almost perfect the last 2 weeks.
Right.
I totally agree,
fun,
man.
guys.
I mean, out of all this football we've seen, those had to be the best playoffs I've ever seen in my life.
Collectively, 100%.
And two elite quarterbacks. Like, again, we seen the Peyton Manning era. We seen Brett Favre. We seen all these eras, and there was nothing close to what we saw this past weekend. You got to tip your hat off and say, man, God bless football, because we got more excitement for many years to come. And thank God we're able to see it, man. Lord willing, all those guys stay healthy and everything happens. You know what I mean? So,
how about the championship games now, though? Now, how are you going to match up to what happened last week? How are you going to?
I'm watching be the most boringest thing ever, and I said it in a tweet before, and I was completely wrong. But watching be the most boring thing, and I'm like, jinxed it.
I hope so, man. I hope it's going to be an awesome weekend again.
Absolutely,
dude. Joe Burrow has a chance, because I don't think anybody's really expecting Joe Burrow to, if he balls out and makes that a game or has, deep into the fourth quarter, and he's doing things like Josh Allen was doing, and that's the only chance I see it. Who do you think Super Bowl matchup, if you had to predict right now? You expect the Chiefs to win, but you got Rams and Niners.
I say,
yeah.
I say Rams and Chiefs.
Rams and Chiefs seems like the most fun. But don't count out the Niners, man. Don't count them out. I everybody's counting them out already. Don't count out freaking Jimmy G and the 49ers. Who would have thought someone would say that? But
that defense is great, man. The 49ers defense is pretty freaking good.
Shanahan calling those plays, that defense, they're always going to be in games. Always going to be in games. So
the Rams and Niners just seem like some of the best coached teams and the most creative offenses. Yes. And that's going to be a really fun game. But obviously, we're watching all of them.
So we're all saying the Chiefs is definitely going. We're all saying it?
You hate to say, but the Bengals aren't ready yet. They're not ready yet.
Spiro, what are you betting on? I'll do the opposite to make some money.
Dude, I'm having a rough playoffs, man. Playoffs.
Does anybody have the stats of the spreads that we do for fun? I don't know who came in.
Did you go 4-0 this weekend, Jeff, or did you lose one game?
I missed the Bills, but I took all Road Warriors, and
you went 3-1.
Look how close.
Is that how you bet? That's how you bet.
No. I just like them.
It's just feel. It's just feel.
Good for you,
man. This
I think I went 1-3, and I'm sitting at 3-7. I think maybe something like that. Something real bad. We'll calculate it all up for you guys, and I'm gonna have a hell of a finish to get even close to you guys.
I think
absolutely.
Has it been 10
guys,
games? Yeah.
The playoffs have been profitable for me. Not in the least.
I definitely lost 2. I say that. I think I lost 2 somehow. But guys, we also have some other stuff too, man. And then of course, we'll get everything going. But we have the New York Knicks we can discuss, man. Knicks is I think they were winning the last time I checked. Unfortunately, it went out on me here. I don't know what happened. But the Knicks were winning at the time. They won the last game before. But the biggest thing is Julius Randle. What's going on with Julius Randle? Why wasn't he made available to the media until the last game? What's going on? And I'm gonna start with you, Spee. What do you think is going on in the Knicks locker room, man? What do you think is going on with Ruben Randle? And we thought we had high expectations coming into there, and here these guys are a little bit under 500. So what do you think is going on?
I mean, listen, they're down again today. Julius Randle, man, he had an all-time season last year, and then he saw the real guy come out in the playoffs, and that as kind of like trickled into this year, and he do the thumbs down. Like, if you saw nothing, what happened with the Mets with the thumbs down, like. That will never work. Going against the fans in New York will never work. What are you thinking, bro? And he's not playing well. What kind of listen, the New York fans will cheer you when you're doing amazing, and they did that last year. And they will boo you when you're sucking ass, and he's been sucking. And they've been letting him know it, and he's been sucking some ass.
He's been sucking. Trust me.
He's been straight up. No, he's been terrible, and I gotta be honest. Listen, I'm not a huge Knicks fan, but I pay attention to NBA basketball. I want the Knicks to do good. When the New York Knicks are good, NBA is good. It's good for the product. It's good for Madison Square Garden. But man, they suck right now, man. They're killing me. They're killing me. And I don't know. You guys are bigger Knicks fans than me, so you tell me what's going on. What's going on with you guys?
This Knicks team just ain't it. I mean,
they don't have it.
They're just not it, and like it sucks because you see flashes of it, but it's just nothing's been sustainable. Julius Randle, dude, you cannot get aggressive towards the New York fans. They're gonna win, dude. They will boo you out of the town. You're not playing well enough to win us back. You're not going to go on some playoff run or hit some buzzer beaters night after night to win us back. It's not happening. Like, don't get defensive against the fans. Like, Joe Judge got defensive against the media in New York, and it doesn't work. You can't go against the wave. You got to ride with it and try to survive because it ain't happening. Dude,
it's true.
If they sneak into the playoffs, they're not winning the first round. Like, that's just where I feel the Knicks are at.
Listen, I totally agree. I mean, you gotta question a couple things, right? I mean, is Julius Rubin? Wow, holy cow!
Don't say
you hear that?
Again. We're killing
wow,
we
Julius. Yeah, right. Is Julius Randle built for New York? You got to kind of question that because again, he's in an environment where New York is pretty tough, man. The city is exactly what the city is. We're tough, gritty, and result driven. So, guys, if you're not bringing in the results, guess what? You're going to get booed. You're a product at the end of the day, and we spend hard-earned money to take a look at you guys, to see you guys, to escape reality of the grit of New York City, right? So go out there and play. If you can't handle the boos, then you shouldn't handle the cheers well either, right? So you're sensitive, man. Go out there and play your game, block it out, and just take it as a learning curve. I got to get better. I got to show these guys why I'm here. You could have easily said that instead of for ducking the media the past few games. You could have been like, you know what, I got to get better, and I'm going to get better, and this is what I'm here for. I'm here to make this crowd, cheer for me and whatever. Look how easy I just said it. Like, you can do the same thing, Julius Randle. It's just, no, you choose to cry like a baby, and now you have Dolan taking care of your fines because he feels bad for you because you don't have the thick skin to play in New York City. If you can't play here, get out. Get out. It's not for everyone. New York City isn't for everyone. But guess what? You get paid to do a job, perform it well, and you won't get booed. It's just that simple, my brother.
And take your lumps. Take your lumps.
Take your lumps, man.
Go out, show your face. Eli had plenty of bad games for the Giants. He was there every single day, and he faced the music. That's what New York fans respect guys that sit there and face the music. And Randle picked the cowardly way out, man. And I don't think he's got what it takes, but
he does it, man. And do you really want to keep somebody in New York like that where they can just pout on you at any given moment? It's not a New Yorker. It's not a New York thing to do. No, there's so much shit going on in the world. You think like New York is the grit. It's the grind. Yeah. It's the toughest place. If you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. So let's imagine if Julius Randle was winning out here. This guy would be cemented for life, and he's just an average player. You know what I mean? Because they're missing that guy. The Knicks are missing that guy. So they don't have that
guy, though. Let's talk about that other New York team.
Exactly.
The Nets have three of those guys.
The
Nets have three. So I know I'm going overtime, but we're going to go with the Nets. But, guys, Julius, if you can't make it here, you can't make it anywhere. But what's going on with the Nets, Spee? I'm sorry about that.
Nets are cruising, man. They're cruising along. Listen, they lost KD, which is going to set them back. They miss his defense. They miss his length. They miss his scoring. He's the best player of this time right now. So clearly they're missing that. But they built themselves up a nice cushion. They're only a half game out of first still. They got a lot of away games, which means Kyrie Irving will be there for the away games. Thankfully, hopefully he's there for some of the playoff games when they have to play at home. But right now they're on cruise control. You got Harden, you have Kyrie, you have the rookies playing well. The Nets are going to be fine, and they'll be there in the end. They'll be there. Like, listen, they might drop back to fourth place without KD, but he's coming back in less than a month. He'll be here in plenty of times for the playoffs. Nobody should be worried about the Nets. It's all about the playoffs for the Nets. So they're on cruise control until then. So we're not worried. We're not worried, baby. We're cruising.
They're going to lose a couple spots probably, right, in the playoff race.
Probably. It's tight at the top.
Team. But I feel like Kevin Durant has this window right now where I feel like the league, at the very top, it's him and Steph Curry. Like, I feel like are the best in the game right now that can absolutely win it all. So you're assuming that when Durant comes back, he's going to be 100%. And then all of a sudden, the three of them, the three big ones, are just going to gel all of a sudden when they've played like 18 games together in 2 years. Like,
you're right.
It's been scary how little they've actually played together. So obviously they could be scary if they if they go on a run and get healthy and it all works. But those are big ifs. Obviously, they're a deep playoff team based on talent. Either way, assuming they're healthy, because they're not even just those three, right? Like you got Blake Griffin, who was like a how many time All-Star, and just like
Aldridge, they got Marcus Aldridge. They're just stacked. They're stacked.
Just think of that level of talent, and then you look at the Knicks, and you're like, oh, that's cute. Like the Knicks are just.
They definitely overachieved.
Let's talk about the best team in New York right now.
Yes. And let's talk about the Rangers, man. Hockey season is here in full force, and the Rangers are on fire. Even though they took a little lump last game, but guess what? They're gonna bounce back, man. So speed, man. Oh, you know what? Hefe, what do you think? You want to take this, Hefe? Hefe, lead us in, man. What do you think about this Rangers, man? How we feeling? Because I'm hyped. Listen, man. I ain't gonna lie to you.
They're awesome. They've been, I mean, as a New York fan, if you're a fan of these teams, like the last decade has been the awful drought, right? And the Rangers have kind of through that time kept you above water, right? If you've been paying attention, they were in the playoffs for a lot of years in a row and during Lundqvist's prime. So they're going to be a good playoff team. They're going to make a run. They need more shots on goal. They're not getting enough opportunities. They're efficient, right? They're scoring, and they have these spurts of like raining goals. But Kreider, he continues to produce. He's playing phenomenal. What do you say? He's up to 30 goals, Speed?
Yep, 30 goals.
So 30 goals. So like
just
the Rangers are going to be there, right? We have a team in New York that plays at the Garden that is going to be in the championship conversation.
Let's go.
Get on board. Start paying attention. Get on board so you can celebrate something. It's been a long.
Guys, listen, you might catch us at a game. You might catch us at a hockey game.
Let's go.
So please jump on board with these Rangers, man. They're on fire right now. Speed, what you got?
Yeah, well, listen, first place over halfway through the season. This is no longer small sample sized.
Right.
They are legit. Listen, they took their lumps against Carolina, which they're the second best team in the division. They're arguably, the Rangers are arguably a little step behind the Hurricanes, who smoked them in the playoffs last year. They need more pieces, but they're young and ascending right now. They're where you want to be. They're right where they want to be in their rebuild. They're ascending to contender status. And they got one of the best goalies in the league right now in Shesterkin. And everybody's clicking on all cylinders here. They need more pieces. They need more grit. They need another forward. They need another defenseman. But those are pieces you get at the trade deadline. They will do that. Right now, I'm having so much fun watching this hockey team, man. Yeah. They're just having, and they love each other, man. They're having fun out there. They have the right coach right now, and right now it's just about maintaining, getting those extra pieces, and get ready for the playoffs, man. Because that's going to be the first true test. This team has not been through a playoff run yet, so they're going to have to. It's going to hit them in the face because playoff hockey is a different beast. But we need to see that as fans, man. We miss playoff sports from New York, man. And I think the Rangers have the best chance to give it to us. Right now, they're down 2-1 tonight. Let's hope they can come back. A lot of time left in the third period. Knicks coming back. Knicks coming back too. So they're down 6 or down 3.
Let's
go. It's close. It's close.
Yeah, so sorry. The scoreboard went away.
Keep fighting, baby. Keep fighting. And I think the Rangers, man, that's our only shot. That's our true shot this year. Nets and Rangers. Let's say the Nets and Rangers. Okay.
Sergeant Mayhem decided to come back to the Rangers for the Hurricanes game.
rough. Listen,
and if we're trying to get Spiro more and more involved too, we're like, he's like, "Is the game on?" Like, don't turn the TV on. Don't watch it.
It was.
Try next time.
They're not at that elite level yet, but they're a step below, and they're so young still. So they have so much room to grow. We got Eli involved. The first game he saw was 8. But listen, they were down 5-1. They made it 5-3. They still fight, man. They got a lot of fight in them. Some offense. They need some pieces. Stay on board with us, people. This is going to be a big season for them.
Let's go.
And guys, and that pretty much concludes our show, man, right? Wow,
let's
terrible.
Go.
Yeah, we like to
listen.
We like to do a quick roundup, get the other New York sports in here because we are passionate. Those Giants will always be our bread and butter, but hopefully you guys get into these other teams too. If you're not already, the Rangers highly recommend getting into them because we're going to keep our finger on the pulse of the Rangers through the playoff race because the Giants coaching staff, that's going to settle down, right? Mm-hmm. We're going to have to keep the show going, baby. And we're going to. So jump on board.
And we're about positive vibes over here. So right now, the only positive vibes we're getting right now, Nets, Rangers. Let's go Knicks. They'll pick it up. And hey, look right there, baby. Vibes. Vibes. That's our leader, our fearless leader right there with the good vibes. Let's go.
No, listen, these guys, it's an honor to work with these guys, man. These guys are the leaders, man. Don't let them fool you. They run this show. I'm just here to narrate, like Molly Kiram over here. That's what they treat me as. But no, guys, thank you so much for watching the show, guys. You know, every Monday we're gonna try to do this and bring you guys some great stuff. Again, we're here to revive New York sports, talk about everything that's current around the sports world. So, guys, we thank you for joining us. And again, if you like, please subscribe. Hit that thumbs up. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. That's the support we need. If you guys have any advertising, etc., please email at the nyrevival@gmail.com. Again, the nyrevival@gmail.com, or just DM one of us or at one of us, whatever you want to do, guys. Feel free. We will be glad to promote whatever you have going on here. And this is your boy Eli Rex, aka Vibes, and I'm here for El Jefe, and I'm here for Mr. Glass Half Full Spiro. If you nasty. And this is New York Revival. Guys, stay well. Take care.
Cheers.